The 3D Legend of Zelda games have always been my preferred type of Zelda game, and the top-down 2D games just never really got me quite as excited. But The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom has done the impossible thanks to The Legend of Zelda A Link to the Past. What's up, everyone? This is Justin, and welcome to Just Keep Playing. Please join me today as we talk about why I'm even more excited for The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom after finally playing and beating A Link to the Past. Alright guys, confession time. My secret shame as a huge Nintendo and The Legend of Zelda fan is that I've never played The Legend of Zelda A Link to the Past, or any 2D top-down Zelda for that matter, until now. I just finished my first playthrough ever of A Link to the Past, and now I'm even more excited for The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. Top-down 2D Zelda has been one of my biggest blind spots in gaming. Even though I grew up in the SNES era, for whatever reason, that top-down style just didn't appeal to me as a kid. And whoo boy, was little kid me wrong. If I would have played A Link to the Past back in the day, it would have blown my little kid mind. But what did blow my mind was Ocarina of Time back in the day on the N64. From introduction to release, everything about that game left me in awe. I remember before it came out, we found out through IGN64 at the time that they were going to be showing the trailer for Ocarina of Time at the movies that fall. I don't remember what movie I went to go see, but I 100% remember watching that trailer. That trailer was so incredibly hyped. It gave me goosebumps and had me so unbelievably excited to play Ocarina of Time. People today talk about how amazing and iconic that Breath of the Wild trailer was and is, and it was, but Ocarina of Time, that was the OG. Ocarina of Time was one of the most hyped up games of all time back then, and the amazing thing is that it lived up to the hype. Just an absolutely incredible masterpiece of a game, especially back then, and it immediately became my favorite game of all time. It's one that I'd love to see an all-out remake for, but that's a conversation for another day. Ocarina of Time was my favorite game of all time for a long time. And I sure am saying time a lot. But that was until the release of the Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom duology. Breath of the Wild was a revelation for adventure games and open world games to me. I remember talking to one of my best friends after Breath of the Wild and the Switch came out, and just talking about the different things that we were experiencing, that I experienced during my time with the game, that was completely different from what he was experiencing, but still both experiencing that same magic at the same time. And just seeing online, on Twitter and Facebook and all over the place that others were having similar experiences too, just made for an incredibly special moment with Breath of the Wild. And then for me, Tears of the Kingdom was even better than Breath of the Wild. I know that it has its detractors now, and their opinions are valid too, but for me, Tears of the Kingdom was and is something truly special and just another masterpiece. The emotion that I felt retrieving the Master Sword and just other pivotal moments in the game will stick with me forever. And everything about that final battle was just fire. I love both games, and it's hard for me to separate one from the other. Breath of the Wild was more impactful, but Tears of the Kingdom hit just as hard for me. And both Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom have really spoiled me when it comes to adventure and open world games. So all of this to say that I absolutely love 3D Zelda games. It's my favorite Nintendo franchise of all time, but I pretty much ignored top-down 2D Zeldas. So when Nintendo announced Echoes of Wisdom at their last Direct, I was like, cool, a brand new 2D Zelda, I'll check it out, and I was legitimately excited to play it, but it didn't get me the same level of hype as those 3D Zeldas. Before Nintendo had announced Echoes of Wisdom, I was on a bit of a 3DS kick at the time and decided that now was the perfect time to dip my toes into the top-down 2D Zelda pool, and was planning on playing A Link Between Worlds. But I thought that it would be a good idea to play through A Link to the Past first, since I heard that it was kind of a sequel follow-up to that game. So I started my journey of my first top-down Zelda and a Nintendo Essential that I had missed out on. And I'm so glad that I did. A Link to the Past is amazing. I was initially surprised by how cinematic it started with the dark and rainy atmosphere. The game, it does a good job of teaching you how to play it from the beginning with in-game clues, but not much longer after the opening, the game does not hold your hand at all. You're on an adventure and a journey, and it's up to you to figure this thing out. I don't think I would have been able to beat this game back in the day without a strategy guide. A Link to the Past, it does do a great job of providing environmental clues to help you figure out some puzzles and to find secret areas. And I was shocked by how open the world was in A Link to the Past, and the fact that you could pretty much go wherever you wanted, as long as you had the tools necessary to get you there. The game, it rewards exploration with a cave of fairies here, a heart piece there, a seemingly random encounter here, and a whole host of secrets and items to find throughout the world. And just when you think it's done, there's a whole nother dark world to explore with some interesting puzzles that require you going back and forth between both the light and dark worlds. The dungeons were inventive, sometimes mind-bending, but often rewarding when you're able to figure out that puzzle that's had you stuck for a few hours. And overall, the boss fights were really cool, some more than others. Some boss encounters for me were find the right spot in the game and just hit attack as quickly as possible to defeat the boss. I liked the boss fights the best when they required a strategy and figuring out a pattern. And thankfully, the final boss battle with Ganon was one that required some strategy. It was both fun and challenging, and it truly ended the game on a high note. A Link to the Past is a classic through and through, and I'm really happy to have finally experienced this game. After finally playing and finishing A Link to the Past, now I was even more excited for Echoes of Wisdom. I think it's really cool that we finally get to play as Zelda in a starring role. The game looks like it's going to be pretty substantial with a nice sized world to explore and travel through. And I love that they're embracing the freedom and creativity of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, while maybe not being quite as daunting as those two games. And maybe even a bit more linear. We don't know for sure, but we shall see. I'm excited to see how they handle boss fights. Will we be able to defeat them with the same creativity that we can travel and explore the world? Will we be able to make echoes out of the bosses and use them as some type of epic summon or something like that? The game world and its characters look amazing and adorable. The world in the game looks pretty expansive, and I can't wait to go exploring and visiting the various towns, areas, tribes, and people of Hyrule. How crazy are these puzzles going to get? Will Echoes of Wisdom have side quests as memorable and endearing as some of the side quests in Tears of the Kingdom? Some of those side quests in Tears of the Kingdom are my favorite all-time side quests, and they really helped bring that world to life for me. So I'm hoping for more of the same in Echoes of Wisdom. I love that Echoes of Wisdom is embracing some of the more modern and creative aspects that Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom has brought to modern Zelda. Like in A Link to the Past, when faced with the cliff, you just had to find a way around to get up that cliff. But as they showed in the most recent trailer for Echoes of Wisdom, you can use the echo and the bind technique to use like the spider to help you climb up that cliff instead of having to find this long way around. So I love having that traversal option. And then also in the Link to the Past, like you could travel around to wherever you wanted to, but it could take a little bit of time I liked to use the Pegasus boot to get me to places that I need to go, but it still wasn't the most optimum. Like if there's like a run option or something like that. So I love that for in Echoes of Wisdom, we get to use a horse to get around and get around much faster, and that we can take out weaker enemies with that horse, or even use the horse to hop over fences or ledges or things like that. There's just so many creative options that Echoes of Wisdom is offering to us, and that just makes me so happy and excited. I know some aren't as thrilled with the Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdomifying of 2D Zelda, but to me, it's adding so much and just bringing 2D Zelda to a whole new level. And I hope that Echoes of Wisdom will see a similar type of success as Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, and that we get more 2D Zelda on a regular basis as well. The more I talk and think about this game, the more excited I get. The last few top-down Zelda adventures have all been highly rated games on Metacritic, with Link's Awakening sitting at an 87 and the last brand new 2D Zelda, A Link Between Worlds, sitting at a 91. Not that Metacritic is the end-all be-all, it's not. Everybody should just play a game for themselves if they're interested in it, and just, maybe check out some footage or whatnot. But looking at Metacritic is a good place to kind of get an idea of what you're heading into. And it's exciting to think that we have a potentially highly rated brand new top-down Zelda right around the corner. Will Echoes of Wisdom be a Game of the Year contender type of game? Maybe. We'll see. That remains to be seen. But if it lives up to its pedigree, which I'm thinking that it will, it's going to be a great game that's coming soon, and I'm excited to get my hands on it. Thank you so much for watching. If you're enjoying this content, please hit that like button and subscribe, and leave a comment below. I'd love to know your thoughts on The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. Are you excited about it too? What is your favorite 2D top-down Zelda game? Please let me know. And until next time, I'll see you later. Have a good one.